welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and this big warrior of a machine around us is none other than the Jeep Gladiator.
That's right, it's big, it's massive, it's open top, it's side open, it's completely open, and we're just going to take it out into the open wilderness and see how we get on. Come along for the ride with us. For those Jeep enthusiasts amongst you, you'll know that the Gladiator nameplate isn't exactly original. It actually dates back to 1963, but now it's back and bigger than ever. I mean, look at it, it's huge. Overall length, over 5.5 meters, so, you know, top to tail is great and big. And it's easy to say that it's a Wrangler with a Ute Wrangler, which in many ways it is, and it will actually excite the rednecks amongst you, but it's much more than that. The dimensions are 79 centimeters longer than the JL Wrangler, which is obviously impressive enough, but 500 millimeters of that is in the wheelbase alone, which makes it more secure and better for carrying loads. So it's a more, I don't know, more secure on the road and actually off-road when it comes to that. It's taller too, 1.9 meters tall, so that's almost actually quite a reasonable sized basketball player, and 249 millimeters in ground clearance, so you're not going to scrape it on any of your curbs, not anytime soon anyway. It's got a wading depth of 2.5 feet. That's basically half of me, so I'm going to drown quicker than this thing will. Good truck. Anyway, round the front, it comes with this perfect seat. You know, anytime you want to have your coffee or your I don't know, out in the wilderness, this is the place to sit. 7-slat grill, or 7-slot grill, of course, makes it iconic. There's also a slight lean to it to make this vehicle a little bit more aerodynamic. To be honest, I don't think it could be less aerodynamic, but that's a different story. LED headlights. It's got indicators that are embedded into the trapezoid wheel arches, and also fog lights too. Pretty cool. As we take a long walk down the side here, we've got 18-inch wheels, but look how much rubber here. This is going to absorb a lot of the ground. Spoken about the wheel arches. Very important trail rated badge, because that means that it has been proven to go uphill, down dale, and with some. This is the Overland edition, so it's slightly more neutered than the Rubicon edition, but it comes with more body colored panels and, you know, a little bit more refinement, I guess. The windscreen drops down, the roof panels come out, the back area of the roof comes out, the doors come off. It really is fully open-aired, and you know, it's just a fun mobile. Round the rear, it's going to take me a while to get there. The exhaust pipe is hidden under here. Actually, they run out of material to get it all the way out the end, which is quite funny. LED tail lights, which is cool. You'll notice that the stop light is down here because the roof is totally removable, which is cool. And also it just feels really strong, and also a tow hook here to tow other things out of problems rather than towing you out of it, because this is just one of the most, if not the most capable vehicles in its class. Let's talk about the flatbed. As with all Jeeps, they're loaded with what they call Easter eggs. We'll get to those. They're just little Jeeps or references back to the old Willys, back of the old. But you'll notice in this tailgate, it's got 7 slats and also a couple of headlights. Pretty cool. The flatbed is 5 feet long, so if I won't be able to bring the side up, and 56 inches wide, so actually 56 inches wide. It'll also carry 725 kilos, so I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 of me. Not bad. Speaking of big things, let's go inside and Matthew will show you all the way around that.
Dave might call me big, though I'd say I'm at least taller than him. But what's certainly taller than me, and bigger as well, is this Jeep Gladiator, both inside and out. And one of the first things you'll notice in here is, of course, the amount of space. Just look at how much I've got in front of me, and we've removed the roof as well, so there's heaps more on the top. The finishing is a mixed bag, so across the dashboard here, everything's put together well, and this handle is remarkably well fitted in there. I'm guessing to stop you flinging around when you're going off-road. But this center console, well, that's a whole different story. It's more reflective of Jeep's quality historically, but those kind of things are excusable because this is a fun car. It's meant to be off-road, and you're meant to get all these surfaces dirty and then be able to wipe them down immediately afterwards. This is the Overland, so you do get a bit of leather here and there. These seats, which say Overland on them, are actually quite soft leather and very comfortable. The suspension, of course, irons out any bumps in the road, as we'll get to later on. You get a bit of fake leather on here with some stitching, and everything else is covered in a little bit of fake leather. Speaking of the Jeep Easter eggs, I found another one here, and it's on the top of the gear stick. As you can see, this center console is full of switches and all those things basically. So you get seat heaters, you get a heated steering wheel, parking sensors. You will need that in a car this size. They're all across here. You do get these 4 window switches in the middle here. Now the reason being is that obviously all 4 doors are removable, so Jeep didn't want you to be able to take the window switches with the doors, but with no doors there's no windows either. So anyway, window locking is there as well, and you get a little flip up port which is waterproof for the USB charging ports. You get obviously an automatic gearbox here, but you also get this, a low range gearbox. This is a proper off-roader after all. In terms of storage spaces, you do get a little section there for your key, 2 cup holders, a slot for your phone, and there's a slot for something else down here. One on the dashboard as well for your phone, and 1 storage cubby there, and if you flip that up it becomes 2, which actually houses the tool pocket that you'll need to remove the doors and the roof. Speaking of tools, this infotainment screen has got a whole bunch of them. So let's jump in and take a look. So this infotainment screen here, this is Jeep's Uconnect system, and if you go through there you can adjust the media, the climate controls. You can even fiddle around with the passenger and driver's heated seats, and of course the driver's steering wheel, which on this car is actually the right way around. That's the U home. It is a bit slow, but it at least is easy to read and works really well. This is what you really want to go to though, the off-road pages. So you click into that. It does take a bit of time, and actually tells you you may be lost but never stuck. That's a real Jeep sort of ethos. So here you get the wading depth, you get the incline angle, and even your latitude and longitude, the altitude, everything that you'll need for proper off-roading. Something that's a little less off-road geared is the gauge cluster in front of me. Take a look at that, and you actually see analog gauge clusters. So on the left you have the rev counter, and on the right the speedometer. You also get a little icon in there for the low range gearbox. In the middle you do get the temperature gauge, the fuel gauge, digital speedometer, but of course you can adjust all those things just by flicking through this button here. So you can take a look at your tire pressures. So this is an American car obviously, so they are in bar rather than PSI. And you can keep flicking through and take a look at the altitude and the body roll and the wading depth. It even has adaptive cruise control, which you can control through here. It tells you your fuel economy and all the other vital things that you need to know. Speaking of vital things, there's some more storage space in the back, so let's take a look and check that out. As you notice, there's a little less headroom in the back here because the roof is actually on, but again you can take that off and it does come off as a whole unit. This middle here though, this cannot be taken off, which is why it has the speakers in it and the 4 reading lights for both the front 2 passengers and the rear passengers. In terms of space back here, well, there's plenty. Even with the roof up, I get heaps of headroom. This seat is as far back as it can go and reclined, and my knees have just a bit of space in between. Plenty of footroom as well. You get 2 cup holders there, and the middle passenger also has plenty of footroom. You could easily sit 3 across the back here. It is that wide. Now, this car does have a lot of storage spaces in the front there, but there's a little trick in the back underneath this bench. Under this back bench of seats, so if you pop that up, you'll see this that says Jeep. As you can see, there's a lot of storage here, and if you pop this up, it opens all the way, and you can actually take these dividers out. Now, I know which country we're in, but I know which country this has been made for, and it awfully resembles a gun rack actually. But maybe you could stash your potatoes in here or something after a vegetable run. Who knows? There's a couple of other tricks back here actually. Now, if I fold down that lid right there, behind this lid over here, which has all the instructions for the different parts you can take out, there's this setup here. Now, this is actually for you to store away all of the screws and different pins that go into fitting all the doors and parts together. That's an ingenious feature, frankly, because you're bound to lose a few of these anyway. Another ingenious feature tucked back here is a Bluetooth speaker just under there. There's a loop back here, and if you pull that, it drops the seats down, but more than that, it exposes this back here. Now, this is actually a Bluetooth speaker that says Jeep on it, and it's got the slats on there, and it actually charges when you mount it in there. How ingenious is that? Now, this Bluetooth speaker for some reason is really rough, so it comes with a tie hook which you can hang from a tree, Jeep says, and it can also survive with being submerged underwater for 30 minutes. Go figure. Anyway, another thing that's rugged about this car is of course the way it drives, so let's take it for a spin and see how tough this trail-rated Jeep is.
So the Jeep Gladiator, you know, I mean, it should be called the Goliath. I actually keep calling it Goliath in my own mind because it is massive. I mean, it's huge. It's taking the Wrangler and adding 5 feet to the back. I mean, it is massive. But funnily enough, driving it doesn't feel that way. It feels, I don't know, almost natural, almost like it should be like this. But what a size of vehicle!
It's of course the first time Jeep have done this with one of their cars, turn it into a ute as we call down in these parts. But previously there have been companies doing this aftermarket, so it can be done. And as Jeep has proved with this Gladiator, it can be done pretty well.
I mean, it has been done. It's great. To revive a nameplate is good as well. You know, it's been in mothballs for a number of years, and now it's back. And like I say, bigger than ever. So speaking of revived, I mean, they have brought their Pentastar V6 back into production. I mean, it is in the JL Jeep anyway, so that's cool. It delivers 209 kilowatts and 347 newtons, so you know it's powerful enough, and there's plenty of torque for a vehicle that is going to spend, well, or should spend, a fair amount of its time off-road. I mean, this is the Overland, so it is a little bit more refined, so you know, you are getting a little less than the Rubicon as far as off-road capabilities, but it's certainly capable.
I mean, when I learned that this has a 3.6 liter V6 in the front, I was really surprised because, make no mistake, this is a big, heavy Jeep, and it's got four-wheel drive as well, so you're going to need a lot of power to pull something like this, and that 3.6 liter V6 does a really good job of it without straining itself. Though, if you do want to strain it, you do get that V6 exhaust note, which is always nice.
It is more refined. I mean, the drive is, with each evolution of the Jeep, they are making it more sedate as far as, or much more road going. The steering's not as wayward. I can turn the wheel without waiting for an hour for the wheels to turn, but again, it has to have a little bit more subtlety to the steering because of its off-road capabilities.
And I mean, a car like this, with its off-road capabilities and big tires and lifted suspension, it gets a lot of admiration from off-road enthusiasts as we pass by. They just look at it and go, whoa, Jeep's made a ute now?
And 5 meters is plenty. 5 feet out the back there is plenty. And also carrying capabilities. It'll carry a motorbike, according to you, won't it? Apart from...
Actually, it'll carry 94% of motorbikes apparently. That's what Jeep say, because the idea is that because the tail light, the third tail light is on the tailgate, you can't actually have a bike rack on there. Jeep won't fit one because you're not allowed to block off that light. So that's not an issue, because the length of the bed means that you could fit, I don't know, 100 bicycles in the back of it.
The seats are comfortable, the ride is nice, the admiration you get from people craning their necks to look up at you,
Admiration, he says.
and waiting an hour for you to go past. You know, there's make no mistake, this is a big vehicle. I mean, the Ranger looks small in comparison to this, and that's, you know, that's a substantial 5 meters.
One of the benefits of Jeep's boxy shape is of course the fact that we get tons of space in here. The width, I mean, there's plenty to it, and plenty of space in the back, though the downside is that the boxy shape does mean you have a lot of wind noise going on. So for example, when we're filming like this, it would be nice to have the roof off on a day like this, but with the amount of wind noise in here, we've had to cover it up.
I like the fact that it's got heated steering wheel. I like the fact that it's got heated seats. I like the Uconnect system, although it is, as Matthew says, just slightly slower in connecting, but there's still plenty on there, and I like the off-road pages should I decide to go off-road. I mean, we went into a puddle. I mean, wow. And the layout is good. Everything's easy, although it's a big vehicle, everything's easy to reach, and you know, it's the stereo system's good. I like the Bluetooth speaker. I took my son for a game of football yesterday, and we pulled the Bluetooth speaker out and just listened to my music, although he went, "Oh Dad, it's old man's music," but you know, I'll teach him properly.
They've been really nice actually, Jeep, with these creature comforts, because it looks really outlandish on the outside and it only gets its fair share of stairs, but on the inside it's not really this alienated car. You know, it doesn't feel displaced on the road. It feels right. It rides nicely and all the buttons are within reach, and even though this is American originally, everything has been rearranged here for the correct side drive. It just works. Dave loves this car, and you can certainly see that it's been designed with, you know, approach and departure angles in mind, and elevations and all that kind of stuff, and all the information you get. Wading depth, of course, is very high up, and you get all that information on the screen over here. So it is an intelligent off-roader. It might look a bit old school on the outside, but it's not at all on the inside.
Retro's the word you're looking for. Retro.
It's a trendy retro vehicle, and as we know, 2020 is the year of lots of manufacturers making their retro vehicles trendy again.
If only 2020 would let us out of our houses to go and play with these things. So from a driver's point of view, thoroughly enjoy it, and it does bring out the hoon in me, to be honest. There's a little bit of wheel spinning going on, and you know, it's fun.
From the passenger side, well, you get a great view of the outside there, and great view of the corner there through that panel gap. Of course, the doors are removable, as you know, but one of the major things in front of you here is, of course, this massive grab handle. In a car like this Jeep, going off-road means you are left at the mercy of the driver, and in the hope that you do not have a good driver on the other side, Jeep have given you this big grab handle here just to reassure you that little bit.
Yeah, hold on tight. We're going off-road, or we're going to mount a curb. So there you have it, the new Jeep Gladiator Overland. It's another SUV stroke Jeep that makes me feel smaller and smaller. Good grief. I really need to get some high platform shoes or something. It's incredibly capable off-road, but it's more refined and good on-road as well. You know, it drives nicely, and should I have a garage that's big enough, it's a good addition.
A thing of this size might intimidate people like us, but I can say for sure nothing intimidates this Jeep.
No, it really does. It'll bully anything. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe.
And when you're done watching our videos, make sure to give us a thumbs up and of course keep those eyes on the road.
Nice. See you.